We're live.
Hi guys, Kathy.
Hi everybody.
Roshi.
Hi ladies. Welcome everyone.
Hi Kat. Hi Nye.
Hi Rush.
So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are here every single Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share. Follow us on all our platforms at Ready to Emerge. So, ladies, how was your week?
It was good. Eventful.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still going. We're just in the middle.
Well, yesterday I was hosting a workshop. 15 minutes before the workshop started, the electricity went out. So all computers gone, no Wi-Fi. When the tears started coming, I remembered, you're a big kid now. And I had to go on my phone. So like during some of the presentations, I had to run down to the car to charge the phone so I could run back up to join. So if you can get through that, you can get through anything. That's what I said to myself. All will be well.
Absolutely.
Wow, Rush, that's a lot. But you clearly were able to emerge through it all anyway.
So, hi everybody. I am Kathy Goodall. Welcome to our Wednesday evening. I am what am I? A leadership coach. I am a connector of dots, brands, and businesses, and I am a part of the Emerge Trio. Welcome.
Hi. Kathy, you sound like you need some tonic. Kathy's like, my name is
Esther.
Well, my name is Rochelle Cameron, and let me introduce myself before Nye introduces, because then mine going flop. I'm an attorney at law and CEO of Prescient Consulting Services Limited, a boutique consulting firm that provides impactful legal, communications, and people strategies.
Wonderful.
Nice, Rush.
Good job, Rosie.
That was nice. Hi guys, my name is Naomi Garrick, also known as the PR Chick. I'm also the founder of Garrick Communications, a boutique PR agency here in Kingston, Jamaica. And as a personal branding coach, I help individuals to get clarity on who they are, understand their unique value, and how to communicate that value to their ideal audience to stand out in a noisy world. I'm also a member of the Emerge Trio.
Wonderful. So everybody, this week we wanted to remind everybody to focus on gratitude. And as we think about gratitude, we wanted to remind everyone to focus on our own accomplishments, right? Because sometimes we rely on people to give us that validation, and we need to remember that we have to validate ourselves. So stop for a moment and think about some of the things that we have accomplished and some of the things that we're proud of for ourselves. So Rashi and I, what are some of the things that you're proud of?
You know what? So if anybody in Jamaica here knows Dr. Bambry, one of the things that he always says is to clap yourself. So you say something, you tell him about something good, he's like, clap yourself, clap yourself. And so I agree. I mean, sometimes we are afraid to, say big up to me.
Yeah.
You do something really, really well. I would say that I have gratitude, a lot of gratitude this week, because I was able to sit down and focus and complete some online course videos that I've been sitting on since January, and I did that on the weekend, and I'm super excited.
Photo shoot.
Yes, I had a photo shoot and I did my videos. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm very proud of myself because it took a lot of work, and I really wasn't into it for about 10 months, and I finally just, as Rochelle said, pulled up the big girl panties, and I'm now ready to go again.
Excellent.
Rush? So, clap myself.
Why do I clap like that? My God.
Because you have a toddler.
Yeah, I'm like a glad clapper. And I glad clap myself about abstract things like on Monday I parallel parked well, and if you know me well, I'm not really.
I would clap you for that, Rush.
You know when you come out and all the security was like, "Yo, miss, you can't drive." I'm like, "That's right, driver right here." But the thing I'm really proud of this week is I had a speaking engagement on Monday morning, and when I saw the program and I saw Rochelle Cameron, founder and CEO of Prescient Consulting Services, I was like, "Oh, it's my granddaughter.
Watch massive big data." So wonderful.
So what about you? You didn't say anything, by the way. You're about to jump into the rest of the show.
So as we celebrate breast cancer awareness across the world in October, we wanted to help to increase the awareness and the support of breast cancer. We want to encourage everybody to check yourselves. Early detection is important, because the earlier you detect it, the easier it will become to treat, right? There are 1.38 million new cases each year. Breast cancer is by far the most common cancer for women. So at the end of the day, we want everybody to be very aware. I know that almost all of us have been impacted by cancer in some way, shape, or form, whether we know somebody that has it, whether we've lost a loved one to it. And for some of us, it becomes closer and closer every day. And so for this show, we decided that we were going to bring 3 powerhouses that are not only breast cancer survivors, but thrivers. And they are amazing women in their own right. And I am going to ask Rochelle to introduce them, because, she's the queen of introduction.
I'm like the hype man. You remember Alicia Keys' hype man at Jazz?
Yes.
Well,
That's you, Rochelle.
I'm the hype man. So, emergers. I mean, when we talk about powerhouses, I am so ridiculously excited about this episode. We have 3 very different women who are absolute leaders in their fields and just change makers, not only in Jamaica, but worldwide. Alicia, Esther, Stephanie, Althea, Lorian, we see you. Welcome. So the first of these ladies is a lady that we call Stacey Hines, author, speaker, executive coach, and by the way, the recently elected president of the Jamaica Technology and Digital Alliance. Yes. She's the female president in the 45-year history of the organization. She's also the founder of Epic Transformation, a corporate e-learning coaching and leadership development company. This little lady is a multiple certified coach who works with CEOs, senior managers, and business owners on strategy building as well as mindful principles. So she shows you how to make money and keep your mind stay good. She has worked with companies that span the US, UK, Europe, all over the world, resulting in millions of US dollars worth of revenue. Stacey also gives back greatly. She serves as chairman and director on several boards, and her passion project is hosting her podcast, The Balanced Lady Boss Show, where she helps women with tools for bossing the boardroom, bedroom, and bliss. The boardroom, bedroom, and bliss. Stacey most recently published her personal memoir, 5-Year Love Affair, and a deck of daily intention cards to support mental wellness in adults and children. I actually have my Epic Intention cards right here. Welcome, Stacey Hines. Now, Tara Playfair, Scott. Hey, Stacey.
Hi, Stacey.
When you read the ticket, just so nice. You just want forward. I love it. Hi, guys. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Good night. Thank you for having me.
So our second guest is a lady that for several years I wondered how someone can go without sleep. She is that woman that when she calls you and she says, "Rush, I need you to do something," you better get out of your bed and get it done. Because when you call a lady named Tara Playfair Scott and you're like, "Tara, help, she knows everyone and she's going to get help for you. She's a marketing and PR consultant, a dedicated, creative, and results-driven senior marketing manager with a highly successful background in marketing, PR, product development, just about everything. Talk about some fetty, talk about Tara Playfair Scott. She is extremely skilled at networking, building collaborations. Tara was that person who told me every time somebody calls your phone, you save that number. They're going to save you one day, but you can't call them if you don't have a number. After successfully holding senior positions and leading teams within marketing and PR at Live, Discovery Networks, Margaritaville, BET, and PBS, because she's international. Tara spread her wings, and for the last 5.5 years has been consulting with major companies: Wicon, AISK, BCIC, Jerry and Neville, Ready TV. She's also, by the by, handling PR for several athletes and entertainers: Asafa Powell, Aishana, Sharon Simpson, and Agent Sasko. A she named Tara Playfair Scott.
Welcome, Tara.
Can I take you everywhere? It's great.
Trust me, she is your pocket type girl.
Hey. Evening, ladies. Good evening to everyone that has commented in the chat, and even those who haven't. Thanks for joining us. I'm so glad to be here.
We're so happy to have you, Tara.
Thank you, ladies.
So our third guest is a lady who goes by the name Najah Peterkin. Just a quick story with Najah. Last year, was it last year, ladies? Because it was last year that we held our first major conference and Najah was on that stage. And she literally changed my financial life. Like, I had my mouth wide open as she calmly went through all that one needed to do to set one's life straight. And in fact, she completely caused me to change my portfolio, how I approach savings. So I actually owe my life to her. She's been in the financial industry for over 17 years, overseeing sales operations, strategic planning. And in recent years, because she diversified, she has transitioned towards customer experience and channels along the digital thrust. Najah is big-time holder of master's degree in finance from the Mona School of Business. But the thing that she is really amazing at is Najah knows how to get customers to change their financial experience. Very calmly too. She's a world traveler, a classy girl, a cancer survivor, fitness enthusiast. She enjoys soca music, and just this year, named 2020, when I talk about COVID, she has added mommy to her titles as she welcomed her beautiful daughter, Aria Sky. Ladies and gentlemen, make we welcome Najah Peterkin.
Hi guys.
Welcome, Najah.
That last part sounds extra sweet, Rochelle.
So nice.
Hi everybody.
Hi. Guys, we are so excited to have you all on the show. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us as we continue to really spread the awareness about breast cancer, and doing that by sharing your stories. So of course, the first thing I would love to know, and I know our audience would love to know, is how did your journey with breast cancer begin? And I'd love to start with Najah, just because I'm looking directly at you to my left.
I was gonna say, just because I'm not muted, fine.
And you're not muted. So
That's
we'd
fine.
love to hear, what was your journey like to this point?
Sure. So I'll start at the beginning, which I guess would be identifying that I had a lump in my breast. And the truth is, I didn't do it. A gentleman did it. My partner, my life partner, Aria's daddy, is who figured out that something fell off to him in the left breast. And sure, I was a little bit nervous. I probably didn't take him seriously, but something in the back of my mind said, let's get it checked out. I did go to Dr. Lenny, who just passed away, God rest his soul, because he happens to be the doctor that my company had used. And so I felt very comfortable with him. Of course, with your breast it's kind of could be uncomfortable. So it's best to have somebody that you're comfortable with. I mean, if you're comfortable with your gynae, then that's also another person that you could use. He immediately thought it could be cancer, and he told me so. So it wasn't too shocking when a few days later the biopsy came back and it was in fact cancer. Tough pill to swallow though, not suggesting that I was as strong as I felt maybe a week after hearing the news. The immediate impact is awful. It feels like doom and gloom, or rather felt. I didn't really know anybody that had cancer at my age. I was 31 at the time. You always hear at 40, right? Or later than 40. So I wasn't even sure what steps to take and all that jazz. But luckily, I found a team of doctors. And as I always say, with support, a lot of friends, a lot of family, mommy, the journey began. It really began because we decided we're gonna beat that sucker was the slogan that we used, thanks to my friends. And so we used that in my WhatsApp group. We used it just all the time when we referred to this thing that was in me, and we just knew we needed to get it out, right? So my journey looked like this. We did surgery first. I removed the left breast. At the same time, I just opted to remove the right because I couldn't imagine another doctor telling me that I had cancer again in the right breast. And doing a lot of reading, I realized that it does come back fairly often, I would say. So thereafter, we had to treat my cancer aggressively, A, because of my age, B, I still wanted to have children, and C, the type of cancer that I had. I had a triple negative in terms of the receptors. A little bit too much detail, but point is we had to treat it aggressively. It was stage 2. Serious enough, right? That we had to move quickly. So did that, and then immediately we had to move into chemotherapy. That journey was a trip and a half. The hair is gonna go. So you hear that it's gonna go, but when it starts to go, ladies, oh my God, doesn't feel great. And it goes quickly, you know, the first treatment and the thing started to come out in my hair. I was just like, all right, I think Naomi saved me here. We went to her hairdresser to get a hairstyle kind of like hers right now, so that you wouldn't have to feel the shed and watch the shed happen, you know, every week. Thereafter, it just all came out. So that hairstyle.
What about that, Naj?
That hairstyle lasted maybe
a week.
Yeah. 2 weeks. But you know, it really was good to have her try to help me bear that experience. The chemotherapy experience is as not so nice as you imagine it to be, right? Things don't taste so nice. You tend to gravitate then towards the foods that you love, something that will make you feel good. Hot wings was my thing, and ice cream. You know, so whenever I had treatment, whoever is bringing the hot wings I love them that day. I did work through chemotherapy though, and I am a little bit of a workaholic, so I'm not suggesting that anybody should try to do that, but it really did help me to get my mind off of what I was going through as well. What I did was I took Fridays for the therapy, recovered Saturday, Sunday, and then by Monday I was back at work. There was no work from home dispensation at that time, so I was going in. We had another lovely friend, Dominique, and I'll tell you, the day I went back to work for the very first time, she had redone my whole office. And I don't own no office there, right? It was just my office space, but she redid it. She had potted plants. She had all sorts, and it was just wonderful to have that experience when I went back into office. So just quickly, I had to do radiation as well, which is a 5-week treatment, 5 days a week. They pretty much were trying to zap, is what they would say, trying to zap the cancer cells behind the chest wall. And it was successful. It was expensive. I have to chip in here, ladies, that critical illness is a policy that you must have. Everybody in the comment section, critical illness. It's not a death policy, right? It's in case you get sick. And somehow you may just get sick. Most of them cover 21 illnesses, and that's a lot. Anything can happen, your eye, your ear, heart, it covers a lot, and cancer in particular is very expensive. We won't get into the how much, but the moment I was able to prove that I had cancer, they released the funds to me and I could take care of things quickly. I have met other persons who haven't had that privilege, and it has slowed up the process of their recovery. And it's so stressful also to be trying to raise funds at a time where you need to focus on getting better. So that's, in a nutshell, how we got through cancer. So I think that's sufficient for you for now.
Yes, thank you for sharing that, Naja. I really totally forgot about the haircut. I remember coming there and giving you pedicures, though. That's what I do remember.
Yes. Thank you.
Are you Tara
soon?
If what?
Are you coming back soon?
Anytime you're ready.
Thank you.
Tara, would love to hear your journey. I know your journey was a little bit different from what I recall when I heard you speak at an event last year. So I'd love you to share that with our audience as well.
Sure. Good night, everybody, again. Yeah, Naja and I have some similarities and some differences. So I'm not sure, when were you diagnosed, Naja?
2011.
How long ago was that? Okay. Yeah, so I much like her, you know, I did find a lump in my breast, right breast though. And as I tell people, I decided I was going to figure it out, you know, via Google. And I did a lot of Googling, and I basically told myself it just, you know, it was a growth, you know, like a cyst. Google said so that's what it was. And, you know, I did that for quite a few months, frankly. It was not fast growing. So to me, you know, I had convinced myself it was just there. One of those things as women, you know, you get these little cysts or these little, you know, as your period comes and goes, or you go through some hormonal changes and it goes away. So in 2016, when it was pretty much still there, I said, you know, all right, let me go let them know what's happening, because I knew, and, you know, tell them what's up, get it out. Probably.
Sorry, tell them as in you are going to tell the doctors what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure that we're clear here.
Yeah. That's clear. I had Googled. I don't know if you heard me. I had Googled. I was on WebMD. I was in all the blogs. I knew what it was. So I went there. Well, I called my cousin, Lori, who has Fairco Medical right on Lady Musgrave, and called her up, basically told her, you know, I needed a doctor because I needed to get this cyst thing, and I needed, you know, probably need to be drained or something, you know, something needed to happen. And she was like over me, but she, you know, she was like, all right, come in. And I went in and I literally did exactly as I'm telling you guys. I told the doctor, told her that I had this cyst and how could she, you know, basically drain it, you know, a couple of things I'd read about. And she was like, yeah, okay, why don't you shut up a minute, let me do some checks here. And she did, and she was like, yeah, I suggest you go get a mammogram. I'm gonna write that up. I'm like, a mammogram? Like, you know, for what? Yeah, I don't need, you know, not at that stage where you have to be mammogramming every minute and all them things. And she was like, yeah, okay, just go do it. Satisfy me. You know what it is, but satisfy me and, you know, come back. And I went to do the mammogram and did it. And the doctor, the technician, she was like, yeah, could you have a seat outside, like the mammogram area? And I'm like, yeah, I just need a thing. I'm going to get out of here, you know? And she was like, nope, go have a seat. We're going to get the ultrasound person to come in because there's some stuff we're seeing that really on the mammogram, you know, we're going to need an ultrasound as well. And I'm like, all right, I found it all to be a waste of my time because I already knew. So I was like, yeah, all right, you know, I'm on the phone, WhatsApping, like, yo, they're gonna take up my time. And then the ultrasound person came and she did it, and she was very quiet. And I found that disturbing. So I kept trying to engage her in conversation. Yo, what are you seeing? You know, talk to me. Like, what's up? Yeah, what's going on? You know, and she was like, nothing. And she was like, the doctor. So I'm like, you're not the doctor? That's when I realized they're two different things. And she was like, no, but the doctor will come in and talk to you. And I'm like, yo, I think this really may be a problem. And I remember the words when the doctor came in. She said, an aggressive mass. And that's when I was like, yeah, I'm screwed. Something's not right. And she's like, we're going to have to do a biopsy. And in order to really figure this out. And I was like, oh, God, I have so much to do. You know, I was preparing, Stacey, as you know, we were doing that week on diaspora tour. I had so much to do. Like, this was a real bother to me, like invading my time, taking up a lot of time. And they wanted to put it off, I think, for like a week. And I was like, no, could you find out if she could come this week? Because I'm leaving.
Yeah.
She literally came. I did it. I left. I did leave and went and did this week on tour, you know, Canada, US. I did it. And I was like, okay, well, you know, it's painful. And ladies, if anything about going to get your mammograms and making sure, you do not want to do a biopsy. You don't. It's very painful, and it's very uncomfortable. And I did all of that, came back and called the doctor, and she's like, yeah, like, we've been trying to call you. And I'm like, oh yeah, I was away, you know, working. And she was like, could you come in tomorrow? And I remember, and I went in and I ordered Chinese before, because, you know, again, I know that this isn't what I think it is. And, you know, I've got stuff to do. I did it and went in, and she was like, yeah, you do. You have cancer. You know, it's stage 2, triple negative. This is a problem. And we're going to want to get on it right away. And everything went blank for me. Everything went silent. It was blank. I heard nothing. I don't remember anything she said after that. I literally felt like I left my body, and I was watching everything else happen. And she kept saying, do you want to call somebody? Do you want to? And I was like, nope. And I was like, are you sure? And she said, yeah. And she gave me the paper. I read it. I said, okay, I'll talk to you soon. And she was like, okay. And I left. I literally left. I drove home. I don't remember how I got home. I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Nothing I recall. And I remember turning off my phone, and I went to my bed and I said, when I wake up, things are going to be different, because this is not real. And I woke up the next day and it was real. And I just, for me, and I want to say to everybody that's tuned in, or, you know, everybody's different. Everybody approaches things in their life differently, because of the way Naja approached it, or Stacey or Tara. Doesn't mean if you come into a situation similar to this, it has to happen in the way we did it.
Right.
Everybody's different. For me, I did not want a lot of people to know. I didn't want to involve friends. I didn't want a group. I didn't want any of those things. I just planned a strategy in my head and I followed it. And that was it. The less people that knew, to me, the better. Because I didn't feel I was able to handle other people's concern. Yeah. I felt it would detour me and my mind. So I just wanted to focus. And really, that's exactly what I did. I had no health insurance. I had just come off of, my Obamacare. I was like, shoot, I've been paying this thing for years.
Yeah.
And I got rid of it. I was like, I'm not paying anymore. So I had no health insurance. Please, as Naja said, critical care insurance, get it. Invest in it. It's your life. If you're not getting it through your job, get it for yourself. It's very expensive, like millions of expensive. And if you don't have it saved, thank God for cable and wireless, because my pension, I went up in it. Yeah, I went up to CWJ Credit Union and I pulled out money, and my parents helped me, and I had friends that helped. But it's a daunting feeling knowing that money could mean life or death. It's literally life or death. So I did chemotherapy, but I did low dose chemotherapy. I did not do full chemotherapy that way. I did have a mastectomy. I wanted to have a double mastectomy, and every doctor kept telling me, why, you're still young enough, and you want to put on a bikini and and as much as I insisted, they were like, it's not necessary. So I didn't have that done. But I did all the other things. My hair fell out, as you can see, kept it low since. But it is very trying. It is very exhausting. And I just don't feel like it ever really goes away, to be truthful. You're always looking over your shoulder. You're always wondering, is today going to be different than yesterday? So, take care of yourselves now, ladies. Get your checks. Do your ultrasounds. It doesn't matter how young you are. That's trash. It's trash. Don't fall for it. Doesn't matter if your mother never have it or your auntie and whatever. It's a lie. It's a lie. It doesn't care. Doesn't care if you have enough money. If you don't, if you're rich, if you're poor, if you're black, if you're white, if you're living somewhere, it doesn't care. If you're vegetarian, if you run every morning, it doesn't matter. Check yourself, go get your checks, and stay ahead of it. So that if you catch it early, and you don't end up trying to, feel with regrets about not doing it. That's me. Over to you, Stacey.
Wow. Thank you so much, Tara. Before I go to Stacey, one of the things that you mentioned was the difference between the fact that you didn't want anybody to know. I would say that's not necessarily the case with Najah, but how she did let us know was very interesting. So I'm grateful to be a part of that inner circle. And I remember what Najah was in full control of everything. So we actually did not get an opportunity to feel sorry for her, right? Because when she told us, of course, there were tears and there were questions, but she was already prepared with her next steps. And like she was doing surgery like the next week. And you didn't even get a chance to be like, oh my God, Najah, it's like, okay, are you supporting the, let's get this sucker out or what? Like we didn't have an option. And I think, you setting the boundaries as an individual as you're going through it really, really is important to, you and how you function. I mean, I don't even know what was Najah's thinking behind that. I just remember it's like if you started to cry, it's like you had to just suck it up real quick because she was not crying. So we're just like, who am I to be like bawling down the place? And Najah is being so strong.
I couldn't imagine repeating it so many times. That's the truth. That was really what made me. I think I did.
We did Zoom then.
What was it? Skype. We had a Skype for the foreign friends and family, right. And then I think we linked at Nikisha's right on her balcony. And one time, Tara, we're not telling this story multiple times because it.
Yeah, agreed. And like Najah, I found that continuing to work through everything, it was a great help to me. So you never got the chance to stop and kind of dwell in it because you had stuff to do, so you just kept going and focusing on work. So I found that helpful as well.
Yeah. Stacey, balanced lady boss.
Hi guys. Wow, it's this is not something we do often, and I'm speaking for myself, Tara and Najah, right? But you don't, take tea and sit down and talk about the breast cancer journey. It's just not, it's not everyday occurrence. So whenever I do get the opportunity, which Tara and I have shared quite a few of the storytelling moments together, it's very presencing. It really brings you into that sense of awareness about yourself and about life, and just that overwhelming feeling of gratitude that you're still here
And again, you live another day to tell the story, not like in a James Bond movie kind of way, live to tell it, not like that, you know, but just this fulfillment of I have breath, I have life, there is hope. It really means a lot to share space with you guys. Yeah, means a lot. Okay, so my story now, before we start about it. I was 34 years old and I did not fit the profile at all, because I had at that point in time now had 3 children. They were all under the age of 10. My youngest was not 2 quite yet, a year and something at the time. They were all breastfed. I was a yoga practitioner, so I was relatively active, slim and trim. Probably didn't need to go gym, but you know, relatively healthy, right? And I spent most of my time leading up to when I was diagnosed, you know, living away. So I was living in the United States for most of my life. And I had literally just moved back to Jamaica on this dream that I had had for years about being an adult and living on the island. You know, you kind of have this nostalgia as a kid. You remember how it was and you think you're going to have the same life when you're an adult. Not quite, but anyway, so I had just moved back to work with a software company, and it was literally like a dream job. Finally get the VP position and work my way up corporate ladder, and you know, back in Jamaica, and it was just really, really an exciting time from a career perspective. But then I would say that things around my life started to kind of fall apart. So my marriage was in trouble, and I had just moved down maybe a year to help the company get acquired, and we had actually then gotten an acquisition offer. And so right around December of 2009, I found out that I would either have to leave this company that I had now helped to shape for acquisition, or move to Canada a year after moving to Jamaica. I was on the verge of divorcing my now ex-husband. I actually asked for a divorce right around Christmas Day. And I was facing being a single mother with 3 young children. And I don't think I really paid attention to the stressors in my body and what was probably really happening inside with all the trauma that I was experiencing from external circumstances. But I think I was carrying a lot of stress and a lot of heartbreak as well. So in March, I was hanging out with my sister, and she was just about to enter medical school. And I was getting ready to go out, and she had brought some of her dresses, because at the time she was like 18, right? So I want a hot girl dress for wear go out on the town. So she came over, brought a whole bunch of things, and we were in my bedroom, just kind of trying on, you know, you try on the outfit and muggle and thing. And I walked past my bathroom mirror and I saw something on my chest, which was really odd, because it wasn't anything that was visible. And I remember saying to Anya, like, did you see that? Are you seeing? And she was looking at me like, are you crazy? Because there was literally nothing on my chest, but my mirror in passing reflected something. And so I went into the bathroom and I was there trying to find what I had seen. And I don't know why I was doing that, because under normal circumstances, you'd brush something like that off, right? Eventually we found this very little tiny lump, like right above my breast area. It could have been a pimple. And I said to her, I was like, do you feel this? And she was like, yeah, I feel it. I don't, maybe you should go to the doctor. And so I didn't go right away. It wasn't until maybe like 3 or so weeks after this thing in the back of my mind was there. But I figured it wouldn't be anything. I just wanted to be sure, because just 6 months before I had gone and done all my checks. I had gone and done my breast checks, and I had my regular gynae appointment, and everything was fine. So went back to the same doctor. My mom was actually off in London on vacation. And my boss, who the year before had actually been diagnosed with a terminal cancer, he had talked a lot, and he was off visiting his family on another island. So it was kind of just me at the time. I didn't really have a broad group of friends in Jamaica, because I had not too long moved back, and sometimes that kind of tricky. So went to went to my doctor, and I kind of explained to her what was happening. Like, I saw this thing, but I couldn't really find it. She said, okay, we'll definitely have to do an ultrasound because I just checked you a few months ago and I didn't feel anything. So she ordered the ultrasound, we went and we did the ultrasound. And in her mind, she was kind of doubting that it was anything serious because I really checked all the boxes for why not to have cancer, right? My percentile would have been so minuscule. It was really, really unlikely. So when she finished doing the ultrasound, she said, you know what, I think I'm going to have you go and see a colleague of mine that has a little bit more experience in this space, and I think would be able to tell us. Like, well, why? I mean, if you don't really think it's nothing, this is before she did the ultrasound that she'd never think it was something, right? Well, I think we need to just double check. She's not gonna say you have cancer and totally devastate me in the room. They like to have more sound evidence. So that's one of the things, guys, is that it's rare that you'll get a false kind of diagnosis because the doctors really do their best to ensure that there is some certainty around it, right? And so I went off and made the appointment with, he was an oncologist surgeon at the time, and made the appointment to go and see him, took my reports and everything else, and that was all fine. Like, in my mind, I was very much like Tara, and very much like Naja from the workaholic perspective. Yeah, I love the work, right? And I felt like this was a waste of my time, right? And we're in the middle of an acquisition with a Canadian company. So I ain't got no time, no business running around trying to see doctor all over the place. Long and short of it, went ahead to the appointment, and when he looked at the report, he was like, you know, I can't have you do a mammogram because of the size and the density of my breasts. So I didn't have no big voluptuous boobs, right? I had 3 children that I breastfed. I don't even know what I'm after that, but that's shipper, right? That breast shipper, right? And so they could not really do a successful mammogram. It wouldn't have shown them what I wanted to see, but based on the ultrasound, he saw enough to say, you know, I think we may actually need to do maybe just removing of some of these nodules that we're seeing, because we are seeing some nodules, but I'm not quite confident that it's a cancer diagnosis because, you know, you're young, all the things, right? So he looked at all the things. And then he asked me some important questions, the first of which was, have you ever taken birth control pills? And I was like, oh yeah, I've been taking birth control since I was 16 years old. And he's like, oh, and he writes that down on my file, right? So I said, okay, that was weird, but no problem. So he says, I think your next step is going to be to biopsy so that we can kind of get a sense of what exactly it is we're looking at. Make sure that there is no malignancy, and then we can just do a lumpectomy, which, guys, is just removing the lumps, right? So not taking the entire breast. And I was like, okay, lumpectomy is it, because I love my nipples. I want to keep my nipples. I was so sure about it. I didn't want nothing interfering with that. So yeah, you can take out some stuff that's in there, but let's try to keep what's remaining. Yeah. The biopsy experience for me was on the top 5 worst things ever in my cancer journey experience. I remember I actually took my friend with me to that appointment, and I remember walking in, and you know, it was Dr. Jennifer Mambi, who is, I think, a 3-time cancer survivor, breast cancer survivor. She's had it several times over and is a real advocate for women in that space. And she looked at me, she was very nice. She had a nice little nurse lady with her, and the old lady nurse was just so nice, sweet woman. And when I laid her on the bed, she was like, you sure you don't want your friend to come in? And I was like, no, it's fine. And let me tell you, the moment that they started, I wished I had somebody in that room with me because it was so painful. And I'll never forget this as a part of the experience. When I laid down on the bed, she said to me, before she even started to do the needle biopsy, she said to me, you remind me of myself. Because when I started out, I only had 1 small lump, but you have now evolved. And I didn't even realize how much the cancer had grown and spread in just the space of a month. By the time I had done the biopsy, I literally, when I laid down, you could actually see the lumps on my chest from this very small, tiny nodule. So it was very aggressive.
Stacey,
So there, yes.
what is the biopsy process? What do they do?
So essentially what they're seeking to do is the intention of the biopsy is to pull cells from the area so they can test it to see whether it is an active cancer cell or not. So whether it's malignant, which means it's active, or it's benign, non-active, right? And they use something called it's a needle biopsy. But you know how you think about a needle, and you think a needle has this very fine point. Imagine a needle that has a big open end that is then inserted into your skin. Very deep, it's a big needle, very deep, and then they pull out enough mass from you. So it's both penetration with a open top needle, and then a pull. And for me, I had to do that in more than one area, because by the time they got to actually do my biopsy, I had now up here as well as all around the bottom of the left breast. So my diagnosis came back. She actually said she worked all night, like literally it was the next morning. She and I cried at the biopsy. So even though I was still saying to myself at the biopsy, it's not cancer, her reaction alone was kind of confirmation, right? So the next morning, the doctor called me, and I too was at work. I was very annoyed that I had to go in. I actually left all my stuff. I was in the middle of an email, and I had the appointment reminder pop up. And I left my laptop and everything, and I went to my boss, and I said, hey, can you just drop me up the street? No, I said, I'm going to my appointment. And he's like, what appointment? I said, to get my biopsy results. And he's like, you're driving? I said, yeah, just going to pop over and come back. Because it was at Medical Associates, which was next door. And he said, no, I'll take you. So we went. He came into the appointment with me. And I remember doc saying, your test came back positive for breast cancer. And then it was empty silence. It was just like, it was like that was it. And I remember something about having to have surgery immediately, and something about calling my family, and something about aggressive and needing to move right away. And I just kind of looked over at my friend, and I was like, did you get that? And he was like, yes, looking at me like, you didn't get it? You know? But I was so checked out, because it was just not convenient for me at the time. And also not something I could process in the midst of processing every other thing that was happening, right? So that was diagnosis. And then they did throw the book at me as well. It was for treatment, mastectomy, chemotherapy, high grade, no option, as well as radiation. And they want to put me on hormone meds immediately. And I took notes of all the things they wanted to do. And then I went to Canada, because we were in the middle of this acquisition, and I was booked for a trip, similar to Tara. I was booked for a trip, and I went on my trip. I was like, I need to not be thinking about this right now. And it took me a while. I didn't tell my mom for a minute. I didn't tell anybody. I was just like, I don't want to talk about it. I wasn't rallying up a team. I went to Canada to pick my townhouse that I was moving to, and to figure out what school my kids were going to go to. And I came back, and essentially when I came back down, by then my family knew. My dad greeted me at the airport. He actually doesn't even live in Jamaica, but he came down. So I had a couple of family members that flew down, because my mom was like calling the cavalry. And I had my mastectomy in Jamaica, but then said that since I was going to be going back to Canada anyway, going to Canada, that I'd go home to Atlanta for any other treatment I would undertake. That was me buying myself time, because I was really scared of chemo and radiation and drugs, especially after reading about all the potential side effects and all of that. So I wanted to take a detour. I did some detour essentially from my treatment, because I just didn't want to do the stuff that they were telling me I had to do.
Yeah.
So that was the journey and diagnosis component of.
Can I ask Stacey, can you tell everybody the type of cancer you had? Because it's different. You had a hormone
Yes,
related?
I had HER2 positive or HER2 positive, which is really more, and it's a 1 in 5 women have that kind of breast cancer, and it is very related to hormones, and the triggers are primarily around stress, sleeplessness, heartbreak, diet and nutrition, which they attribute to all varieties of cancer. But those kind of lifestyle things are strong contributors to the HER2 positive diagnosis. Yes, thanks for reminding me about that.
And that's so important for sharing that, Stacey, because I mean, I know a lot of our viewers are women, especially in these days. Women are very, very high achievers, and we think we can do it all. And we're mom, and we're wife, and we're girlfriend, and we are CEO, and we are head of PTA, and we're doing all the things except taking time to take care of ourselves. So sometimes we don't even pick up on things like, as you said, sleep, stress, heartbreak, diet and nutrition, lack of exercise, not realizing that those things also contribute or could contribute to a possible positive diagnosis for breast cancer.
And I do also want to add, guys, that the reason why I mentioned the fact that they wrote down that I'd been on birth control pills for such a long time is, and I don't know how FDA work, but I will categorically say that I am a strong believer that birth control pills are triggers for breast cancer. Since my diagnosis, it is a warning that I cannot take birth control any form. So anything that can alter my hormonal composition, I have to avoid like the plague, essentially. And I don't believe that there is enough of a conversation around the fact that hormonal triggers impact cancer occurring in a negative way in the body. And a lot of women are out here, and we're taking all these different things that affect us with, and I know, because I was one of the persons. I've taken the pill, I've done the I don't remember the different names, the insert one, all of the different ones. And the only thing I could do now for birth control is have a complete removal of my uterus, because it is not allowed. And so I'm just saying to you guys that, if you don't need to be on hormone kind of treatments, don't do it. Opt for a healthy option. Opt for something that will allow you to self-care in a way that doesn't compromise you, doesn't alter your body outside of the genetic composition that's present.
Thank you for that, Stacey. I was curious when you mentioned it. I think we all were like, all of our faces were like, birth control. That's interesting.
So I actually went on birth control because I used to get cysts on my ovaries. And then when I came back to Jamaica and I did a medical, the same thing, I started to get lumps or clots in my breast. And the doctor said to me, you need to take breaks from the birth control. So I've actually been off of it for quite some time. So, you take it for one thing, but then it leads to something else because of all the hormonal changes. Do any of you ladies have a family history of breast cancer? Wow.
So my mom's younger sister was diagnosed maybe 5 years before me. So she was completing her treatment because she did the pill. So where she had to take one a day for 5 years, I think. So she was just finishing that when I was diagnosed. I did consider doing the BRAC test, and that's a test that will kind of tell you if it runs in your family. But the truth is, having been diagnosed, it almost is a waste of money for me to do that, right? But I would do it, for example, for my mom, and no, because there's ARIA, right? So it's worth considering. But it's not cheap, and it wasn't in Jamaica when I was diagnosed at the time. But I did contemplate doing it abroad, because I did go away for PET scans and stuff that were not available in Jamaica at the time. And they do offer those tests. But it eats up insurance, guys.
Yeah, no. So I know that, Naja, you chose to have your support system, but you also, like Nai said, you manage the communication and you manage the reactions. And Tara said that she chose to limit her support system. And Stacey, you had a few people around you. But for people that are going through diagnosis now, that choose to have a support system around them, how would you advise the support system to respond? Like, what do you think are some of the things that would be helpful as a support to help somebody going through it?
All right, so I'll say what worked for me and a little bit of what didn't work. I'll probably start with what didn't work. It's my journey, right? And so this one bag of visitors is not going to work. I understand and know that my friends and family love and care for me. I know it. I already know it. You don't have to bombard me to pray for me. You don't have to bombard me to show the love and affection. So I did have to control that a lot. I almost set up visiting hours, literally. And anything outside of that, I really had to say, Mom, Rocky, just no, just please tell them no. And the cancer journey, there's a lot of it that's just you. So as much as there was the support system in the night, in the bed, just me, and my thoughts and my feelings and reactions to what's happening to me. But things like ensuring just comfort. So the chemotherapy process brings a lot of discomfort, whether that is through bad feelings. That was really a lot of it. So if a mother, if a friend, if a boyfriend, husband can prepare whatever your favorite meal is, whatever it is that just makes you not have to think about that feeling, it's important. Talking to, not too much about the cancer, it's talking about everything else.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're at home for recovering from the surgery, so you just want to know what go on. There wasn't social media so much at that time, so I did just want to know what party I'm going to go into, what's happening out there, who broke up with who, whatever. Something that's going to make me not think about my hair and and I'll allow the other ladies to speak.
Tara?
Yeah, so a lot of that's similar. As I said, I definitely limited persons that knew. Most persons had no idea. And I preferred it that way because, as Naja said, we didn't get talking about, oh my goodness, so, we just talked normally. And the friends that did know respected that as well. So, we just did everything as if it was just another normal day. And that really worked for me. And as I said, you have to just respect each person's individual journey and what works for them. So I think a lot of times people don't realize, people call you and they're like, so-and-so died of cancer today. Really? Okay, great. Like, and I think they're telling you to kind of commiserate, but a lot of times it can really mess up someone's mind. So I try to limit that so you don't have to take your mind off of anything. I think your mental state is a huge part of healing in anything. So, how you focus, what you focus on the positives, you focus on achievements, you focus on getting through that round of chemo, or, you're getting through the surgery, and you just stay focused on it instead of kind of sinking. And it's very easy to sink, it's real easy to sink into the depression of why me? Oh my God, and next thing you know, you're spiraling downhill. So for me, I think staying focused on positive things, distracting yourself with things. I watch every single Netflix series that there was. I mean, I could tell you I was an expert. So, distracting your mind even for an hour with a great book, with a movie, talking to a friend. And a couple of you on here would know my mother. And my mother is very dramatic. And I had to tone her down. I had to be like, Mommy, come on, dial it back, and let's just not go down this road. It's cool, and she learned to adapt to it. So I think if you tell people what you need from them, they will give it to you. They love you and they want the best for you. So, they will work within it. I mean, I would hear her around the corner talking to her friends, but she wouldn't bring it to me.
Yeah.
But so you have to just kind of balance it out and what works for you, and let your friends and your family and your coworkers know this is what's going to work for me and this really isn't. And they will respect it. They love you and they care about you and they will respect your wishes, I think.
Yeah. Stacey?
Sarah's wondering if we had the same mom.
Probably.
Because I can hear her talking to her friends on the phone, like
as if you're not really like around the corner hearing her. Yeah.
And praying down the whole Olivia music.
Well, I would say that my path was a little bit different because of how mobile I was. I was going through a lot of transition at the time of my diagnosis, and had just moved to Jamaica. So my communities, in terms of where I'd lived, were New York, Miami, and Atlanta. So all my big friend groups, primarily between Florida and Atlanta, that's where my main close inner circle was. And when I got diagnosed, I was also in the midst of a separation. My now ex had actually just literally come back to the island, not because I wanted him to, but because we were working on a marriage, when the diagnosis came in. And so it was a very difficult time in terms of figuring out how to accept people in that space. And it caused a lot of challenges in both my family circle as well as my friend circle. I lost friends in my journey, close friends, because they felt like somehow I had abandoned them in supporting me. It was kind of interesting, right? And so when the option for not moving to Canada came up, it was like, okay, we'll just go back to Atlanta and just stay there since you're going to be doing your alternative treatment there, which is what I opted for, by the way, guys. The option came to just kind of stay. And I didn't want to stay there either because of the daunting feeling of everybody worried that you're going to die. People look at you like you're going to die. That's just what it is. And it's because they care for you and they love you, but they don't know how to process it, right? And I could not thrive in that space because it would just remind me. And I didn't want to be thinking about cancer. I wanted to be thinking about all the stuff I needed to do and how I was going to manage taking care of my kids. So moving to Canada, where I didn't know anybody, and I only had this very small team of like 10 people that were part of the company's acquisition process, that was my safety zone almost. It was like an escape. When I talk about David going into the cave, yeah, Canada was my cave. And I went in willingly. My mother was very upset, in particular with the children. She was like, how are you going to take care of the kids? You don't have no nanny. You don't have no help or nothing. There's no grandma, right? But I knew that my survival in this experience was about me, just based on how I'm wired, right? And then there was also a lot of shame for me, because when I would hear people talk about cancer, they were talking about, oh, I have chemo, oh, I have my radiation treatment, and I was over here drinking pee, So I felt a lot of shame around the fact that I was scared and choosing to do some behind the fridge kind of exercise to save my life because of that fear. And then I was working with what my nutritionist that really was like a herbalist, he lived in like a little cottage, and all he had in the cottage was a shelf full of herbs. And then he had another area that was his blend and all the things he was making. So every day I would be sitting in this man's little cottage for hours at a time, drinking whatever came out of his blender. This is after I got over the pee thing, guys, totally separate. And that was the path that I chose. I was doing acupuncture. I was trying all the different kinds of things because I didn't want to do chemotherapy. And I didn't know how to explain that to people because, people come and ask questions and I didn't want to answer any questions. I just wanted to just deal with me, right? So what I kept close to me were my kids. So after I went through about 4 months of being in Atlanta and shifting to Canada and doing some radiation therapy in that mix along with my alternative therapies, I desperately needed my kids because I felt myself feeling like I had nothing to live for. And so I told my mother, I'm going to come and get the kids, which was the next upset, right? Because she's like, you can't take care of 3 children and work and treat your cancer and go through a divorce in a foreign country by yourself. But again, I knew that if I didn't have something meaningful to look at every day, I wasn't going to make it. And so my kids became my everything. It was about living for me and them and providing for me and them. And most other persons were on the periphery. Those that chose to actually stick around understood it. And I think I may have had 1 or 2 persons visit me while I was in Canada over that 3-year period. But it was a very hermit-like time because I was clear I needed to focus on myself in order to avoid dying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. Wow, ladies. So, usually I'm very chatty, and I've been rather quiet today. Indeed. So, funny enough, this conversation has helped me with something with my own mother who had been diagnosed with cancer. And I heard when all of you talked about how busy you are, because I need to go and do a mammogram that night, so she's following me to go and do. And I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to schedule it.
We're doing it together. Actually, Catherine, you weren't on this call, but we decided that we were going to emerge together and do our mammograms together.
So and I need it because everybody know that I turned fool when I got doctor. So when my mother was diagnosed, and I did all of my research on her behalf, and every evening I was going through all the treatments that I had researched and stuff, and I would tell her how much I love her, and she's just amazing. And one day she said to me, you write a lot of eulogies, but try not bother take no note for mine right now. She said, me not love her, you just eulogize me every day. And then she said to me, you're not fun anymore. I'm like, fun? There's no fun here. She's like, this is not about you. It's about me. And I need fun. And it was such a Naja. So I was you guys' mother round the corner talking, hello? So I think it is amazing for all of us who have gone through this process with other persons to recognize it is not a process about us, because we make ourselves the center of other people's time and other people's cancer. And I don't think sometimes we're as respectful as we need to be about what people need. So thank you for that. I know if Marcia listening. Hi, Marcia. I got my lesson. Thanks. So ladies, we've talked about the journey, the cancer journey, and there's some people who don't know you guys as anything other than completely like changing worlds and space and just shaking up the world and just do things. And I think it is important for persons to understand, one, how your outlook for life has changed as a result of cancer, but also just how you ladies have been thriving notwithstanding cancer, and it's almost like a fuel to you just doing even greater things. TPS, let's start with you for this one. Awesome. I'm sorry about Naja.
Okay. So yeah, I did find that a wake-up call such as this literally woke me up to a lot of things. One of them is I no longer tolerate anyone that I find to be negative in my space. So there are people that used to probably been around me for years that just are no longer there. And I'm like, okay with that, because I've realized it's a whole new space for me. So if you're bringing a lot of negative energy with you, and it's a lot of, just always something wrong with someone else, or somebody did something to you all the time. I've kind of cut that out, really, to be truthful. So I found that it's very freeing, to be honest. It's freeing, because you kind of come to the realization, even though you know it in the back of your head, that life is short, and you have to have the people and the things around you that make you happy, and live in that space, and that's what I do. So I've felt a lot freer since that. And before, you kind of go along with the flow because you don't want to upset the apple cart, or you don't want to make someone feel bad, so you kind of take a lot of stuff because you don't want to feel bad or be the bad person. No. So that's a lot different for me. And then I just do what I want. So if I want to try a challenge with something that I've never done before, I go ahead and take it. I do that, where before I'd kind of just stick to things I may know and what I know I'm good at. No, I'm going to take it on. I'm going to try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I learn something from it, and then I can try something else again. So that's kind of basically been my approach since. Yeah, that's it for me, I think.
And you're thriving.
Answer the question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Najah P.
Yes, ma'am. So Tara said some of it, and I want to piggyback on some of that. Doing more and being more, but I do more of the things I want to do more of. There were times I was doing things because whether, whoever wanted to do it, it was somebody else's flex, somebody's dream, but I did more of the things I wanted to do. I have a friend, Tracy, not sure if Tracy's on, but any traveling Tracy says she's doing, I said, what are you doing? And I go on the ones that I want to go on. Birthdays, I take them really seriously in terms of doing what I want to do. So all the birthdays, it's what I want to do. And I don't go to work. I won't be there because I'll be somewhere else. But it's a lot of that. And I have found I am feeling free, as Tara is. I don't live in my head a lot anymore. Cancer is not a death sentence, but you do feel like you have come close to something. I never ever felt like I was going to die. And the moment the cancer was out of my body, I knew we're over this, the worst is gone. But there is a lot of freedom that comes, and I do feel that I am able to thrive in new ways, in ways that I want to thrive. It's not about how people see me that much anymore, but more how I want to be.
Yeah. And how has Miss Aria helped you?
Lord.
To thrive.
It's a whole other ball game. She's so lovely. She's an easy baby, a really, really easy baby. She does her own thing. Does have a little sass, a little. But I just love her. So she's only 6 months. So, but it's been great. Back at work. But this work from home is working well for me. I just pop in the room, see what's up, get some playtime, and then back at the computer.
So, Naja, I think for some women who still want to have children,
yes,
the question is, can I have children? Well, Naja, and what was that whole process like? And did you have to do anything special?
Different, right? Sure. And I've had a lot of people ask me, persons who haven't been in Jamaica, and also because of COVID, not many people saw me pregnant. So I have had people ask me if I had a surrogate, thinking that because I've had breast cancer, I couldn't get pregnant. And I don't knock them for it. I mean, if you don't know, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So again, at the onset, I told my doctors, I am 31. I haven't had any children yet. I want to have children. Please, let's preserve whatever we need to preserve. I can't say that I knew exactly what they needed to do, but I told them to do what they needed to do. So I know that the chemotherapy that was chosen it had that in mind. The radiation, obviously, because it's the top half of the body, that because you sign away your rights with the radiation, right? Tell you that if it touch your heart is your fault, type of thing. But just to say, the lower part of the body would have been fine. Uterus, everything would be in check. But they do ensure to preserve that area of the body in terms of the drugs that you're taking. And it is heavy drugs. I totally understand, Stacey, why you opted to go another route, especially having already had your babies. I really get it. But for me, I had to kind of go back to the book as much as possible to have the baby.
Yeah. And it's just so beautiful seeing you here and thinking, that at different times in our lives, we have some things happen that feels like the end of the world. And we get through them and get to the other side, to like this brighter other side. And you realize at the end of the day, everything just starts making sense. And you're just like so grateful for here, for now, for this time. And let me just read from my epic intentions before Stacey. So today, Stacey, my epic intention card said, I am untethered. My soul is free from judgment, expectations, and attachment to outcomes. So Stacey, how have you been thriving? Because you've helped us to thrive. Thank you.
Stacey, those are the best cards ever.
Boy, I think
Najah experienced them for the first time last week.
Oh my gosh, guys, I am so grateful for the cards. They really were or have been a real change in my soul footprint. I don't think I've ever actually done anything. I mean, even writing the book was a healing process for me, because I had felt like I was so closed off from everybody. And I remember the day I decided to write the book, I was actually on my way to do my reconstruction surgery, because I think one of the things, ladies that are tuned in, or even the guys, that you kind of want to understand is that even though we've talked about discovery and treatment like it happened in a short frame of time span, it can take years. And so during that time for me, between 2010 and 2013, I was going through my treatment and my reconstructive process, as well as my psychotherapy for all the mental health challenges that I was facing, right? So a lot of healing was happening, and I don't think I was facing myself, but I wasn't unraveling the madness that was going on at that time. And it wasn't until I really started to step into facing and sharing the story, because I was going to reconstruction surgery, and someone had said to me, I had the idea of taking pictures of my body before. And it just so happened that one of my close friends that I made while I was in Canada, her brother-in-law was a photographer, like an artistic photography kind of thing. And she said, I'm sure if you ask Joe, he'll like do some wicked pictures for you. And I was like, yeah, I think I want to capture it for my daughters. Because when I tell them don't take birth control and don't drink cow's milk and don't this and don't that, here's why. Like, just make it very vivid for them, right? So I was on my way to surgery, and I stopped in a breast cancer store, because they have those in Canada, dedicated stores. And I was chatting up the lady. She was asking me one bag of questions, and I said, right before I do surgery, I'm going to take some pictures. And she's like, oh my gosh, why are you writing a book? That would be so nice. Will you come back and talk to the women that come here to say, I said, no, I'm not writing a book, lady. I'm not come talk to nobody. It was like the farthest thing from my mind. But I think it was just the universe's way of planting a seed. You know how they say that seed is planted? And I took pictures, and I decided to take pictures all the way through. So after reconstruction, like literally a week after surgery, when I still had my tubes and stitches and stuff, I had Joe come back and do more pictures. And when I completed my tattooing, when they make a nipple with a tattoo, I had more pictures done then, and then I did some pictures after I moved back home. And in that process, I decided it went from doing a photo book for the kids to doing a limited share photo book, to then like it never makes sense to have the photos without the story, to finally putting out a memoir earlier this year. And as I was preparing the memoir, I was reading a lot. And in the reading, I was talking with a friend of mine, and she talked to me about Year of Yes. And through looking for that book, I found Oprah's book around her journeys, her different stories that she had that she shared. And she talked about intention in one of those books. And I went and I found Gary Zukav, which he talks about a lot, where it's Seat of the Soul. And I just fell in love with this whole concept of the cause behind your thoughts and the cause behind your actions. And that was all about intention. And I literally became obsessed with the idea that if I could help other persons recognize their intention and set positive intentions, then they wouldn't be like caught up in stressful thinking and end up with critical illness or mental illness issues. And I just started writing them down. And eventually it went from writing them down to finding a fine artist, to finding a graphic designer, doing things that you never thought you could do, right? And then here come the cards. So my journey of give back has been more around, you have this extreme pain and suffering that you go through. You heal, you grow, and then you teach others, you give back to others. And I think that all of us here, all the ladies here have been doing that, Tara with her run and Naja with her sharing. I think we've all been doing that, growing and giving. And the new way that I'm giving, at least the more intentional way, it's not so new, it's been around since 2018, is really getting very deliberate and focused with my message in the Balanced Lady Boss podcast. Because I think what happens to us as women is we want to have success and we want to have a great love life, and we want to have fun and enjoy things. But we do it with a lot of overwhelm and stress. We onboard a lot of stress to experience that. And so for me, my message now is to shift that to a wider audience, to say, guys, set your daily intentions and look at what you're doing with your life. Here is a coach. Listen to this coach talk about this, or, read this book that I read that helped me. So yeah, the cards are available.
Yes, please, because I see Janice Allen asking.
Question, from Janice. The cards are available locally. They're available through, I can actually send the link through somebody that distributes for me locally. They actually will get it to you wherever you are, island-wide. It's just a matter of filling out a simple form. Or if you prefer, Amazon, they're available on Amazon for purchase there. And I'm actually going to be doing a special for breast cancer awareness this month. So definitely we'll make sure that the Emerge team has the information. But Amazon, if you look up Epic Intention Cards, you'll find me. It's very easy.
What, Stacey, you big at the Amazon?
Somebody discover me. So Oprah can get her deck.
But Stacey, we talked about the cards, we talked about the book. What about the podcast?
So the podcast is the Balanced Lady Boss Show. The season launch was actually today. This is my third season. So it's actually episode 67 that was launched today. And it's available wherever you listen to podcasts. So Apple, Spotify, Libsyn, all of them, Stitcher, it can be heard. And this season is going to be a little bit different because I'm mixing it up, where I'm doing both interviews as well as I am getting experts to come on and talk about their lives. And then I'm doing the usual one-on-one monologues. So you can listen to today's episode because that actually has me being coached through an anxiety challenge that I'm having. So it's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Nice. Guys.
Corbell Johnson. Good morning, Stacey. Nye.
Yes.
Is it time for the best advice segment?
It is time for the best advice segment. Woo! We need like a theme song for that part. So guys, for best advice, we have about 4 or 5 categories, and I'm just going to ask you each to share the best advice you've received on that particular category. So the first one is best advice you've received about love. Naja rolled her eyes, so I'll let Naja start first. You're muted.
What? Bro, I meant I needed time. Nobody never give me no good advice on love. I probably needed it. Okay, I don't have a best advice, Naomi, but I do have a myth. You know how they say that girls, we get a lot of love and we gravitate from our dads? Myth, lie, false, fake. I have lots of love and lots of love to give, and I didn't get any of that from my dad. But you can, through life, just find love. And from people pouring love into you. My friend Vernon often talks about his love tank. And so if your love tank is empty, just find the right people to pour love into you, and you will be able
Vernon has obviously read the 5 love languages, because Gary Slayer, who is the author of that book, always talks about your love tank and making sure your love tank is filled.
All right.
You're supposed to ask your spouse, how can I fill your love tank today?
I'm gonna
And he must do the same. Oh, I love that. Tara, best advice on love. She's like, ooh.
Wow. I'd probably have to say, if it doesn't feel authentic, it probably isn't.
That's a good one. You have to trust your feelings and your gut.
Trust your gut.
Stacey, best advice on love.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I got so many. The one that came to mind first, though, or second or third, was you attract what you are, not what you want. So love yourself, work on yourself, bring to yourself the things that you want first, and then you will be able to attract that into your life. So yeah.
That. Nice. Okay. Best advice about, this is a good one. Best advice about money. Who would like to start first?
It's too easy, and I can't find one. Oh Lord. All right, guys, save. Because the truth is, if you don't have some of the things we spoke about in terms of a critical policy, Tara mentioned her mom or her pension fund, or you must have is not Get Vex money or rainy day money anymore, or COVID money. It really is just a plan for life. Yeah, we all have to plan for life. You don't know what's coming. Save, ladies, save. Put aside a percentage of your salary every single month. You don't have a salary, whatever you have, start with your children, their allowance. Let them put money aside. It's a really good and healthy habit to have. And you're going to need the money. I guarantee you, you're going to need the money. That's it.
Awesome. Tara?
Yeah, what Naja said, man. It's no legit. Yeah, it was, and there. That was something that was drilled into me for like even starting out at some of my earlier jobs at PBS. Sorry, of course, people keep calling and they're not realizing when you don't answer. You can't. So yeah, just take a bit of it, take a percentage, and just put it away as if it never existed. Trust me, you're gonna need it. One way or another, one day or another, you're going to need that. What they call a rainy day, savings there, you're going to need it because the rain does end up coming at some point or another. And it's always good to have that little nest egg. And if you take it out, you'll just don't even think that it's even there. Yeah. Just have it take it out automatically. Even your bank, you can set it up. And you just would never remember that it was ever there.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Tara. You acting like you don't have any money advice for us. Stacey, best advice about money.
Well, My advice is a little bit less on the practical application side, and it's really more about an abundance mindset.
Mhm.
And I strongly believe that your money mindset is really what equals your money flow. So, with regards to your money, wherever your attention and your intention goes, that's where your money flows. So, if your attention and intention is around, oh my God, I have so many bills, I have so much debt, I have so much, then you're going to get more of that, right? So your attention and your intention has to be set towards abundance and having an abundant overflow money mindset and loving money. Like people really have a thing about loving money because, in Jamaica, your grandmother tell you, say, if you think about money is evil and root of all evil, that kind of stuff.
Right.
No, you need to love up the money because let me tell you, if you're not in a space of loving and that energy around it, then it's going to be very difficult for you to save because it ain't going to be flowing your way.
You know something I read in I think it's You're a Badass at Making Money. Same thing. It's all about money mindset. But one of the things she said was to create this space of abundance for money. So you're supposed to hide money. Could be $100, $50, just money in different places where you least expect it. So it could be next week or a year later or whatever. You put on a pair of jeans and realize that you had $1,000 in there, or you open a drawer to get something and you find a $50 roll up, and it's just to show you that money is everywhere.
I love finding money, especially in my partner's wallet.
It's the best thing ever. In your partner's wallet.
No, it is $50 and $100 US.
I was just giving an example.
Nobody's excited about $50 in his jeans again.
What can $50 buy now?
No, sir, I'm excited about it. It can buy a small.
It can add to
avocado or a tangerine or something.
Every
$100 for avocado. It's $100 for Stacey. It's not $50.
Okay, fine, Naj. Say kind of $50 US. Forgot who was on this show. Okay, best advice about relationships. Let's start with
Tara. Tara, you look like, is this Pep? Is this
Yo, I never answer that one too.
It's so funny. Janice is like, TPS is cracking me up.
What's up, my girl? Jaja. All right, I'll take on this one. Listen, relationships, they are special. I think really, to me, I think the best relationships are the ones that you've made. That person, that partner is your friend. Like you can just talk about anything. Like you're not inhibited to have a discussion about anything. And to be truthful about whatever it is you're feeling, you're not having to be something you're not. And I think that's the best relationship, where you're not pretending or living up to an expectation that you believe they have about you.
Yeah.
That is not true to yourself. If you can't be yourself in a relationship, you're really not in a relationship. That other person you're pretending to be is in the relationship with that person who believes they're in the relationship with the person you're pretending to be. So, I mean, it's never going to work out. Be yourself. Be authentic. Be true to yourself. And if they love you and they care about you, they're going to stick around. They're going to be there. So that's it for me.
Naj?
Yeah, I'm going to say choose wisely. That's the best advice. And somebody said or was asking earlier in the comments, I think about our partners in this process. Yeah, and I'll just touch on that a little bit. My partner is supportive in his own way, right? And I've had to learn to appreciate his way too. In terms of the cancer journey, he's there every step of the way. This young man has, well, he's not so young anymore. Sorry, Rox. He's had to inject me because a part of the journey you guys may not have heard, our red blood cells and our white blood cells count. All these things are important and they have to be at a certain level before you do the chemotherapy treatment. So every Wednesday or Thursday, he would have had to inject me, find me wherever I am. I'm at the office. we're doing it in the car. You know, it just has to happen. And I haven't met a man who would take on these things with nothing. There's no feeling other than this is what we have to do, Nash. So what time you need me to come to wherever you need me to come to. He didn't miss a chemotherapy session. Neither did Dominic Doms. Thank you so much. Whether I wanted her there or not, she was coming. But just to say that relationships show up in many, many different ways, and it may not present itself the way you want it, right? But the package that I have in this person is wonderful and amazing and perfect for me.
Awesome.
My turn.
Yes.
So I'm just in love space right now, you know, right? So, and I think if nothing else I would offer to the persons watching live or after is to allow yourself to be loved. That is something that I had to learn to do, especially after going through a lot of heartbreak, and not necessarily having my ex-husband there the way I thought he would be. And that's not anything against him. It's just what he could manage at the time, right? So it took me a while to really understand what it meant to allow love into my life. And it wasn't because I wasn't dating. I was dating, but I was dating on my terms. I wasn't dating a man that was like a man and that would treat me well and not compromise me in any way, in loving me. And so I'm learning still how to allow someone to really love me, because it's not something I've actually been exposed or experienced in this way at such a level before. And a lot of times as women, strong women who are holding it down and doing all things and managing ourselves, we want to be in control. And so allowing somebody else to come in and actually love you is oftentimes not something we know how to do. So it is to tap into the space of allowing and almost surrendering to somebody else's expression of care and love. Yeah.
Wow. Guys, that was awesome. I was gonna not do this one, but I have one more best advice. This is an easy one, Tara. We can start with you. It's just your best advice on friendships, or best advice. It can be your best advice or best advice you have received.
About friends or friendships?
Yeah.
I think it's similar to relationships. Trust your gut. The energy that somebody brings into your space is critical. And if like, okay, my grandmother would say, if your spirit don't take tea with them, move on. If it's too hard to keep a friendship or make a friendship, have friendship with someone, something's wrong. Just it's easy. Like for instance, Janice or Rochelle, I may not talk to them for 2 weeks, but if I pick up the phone, it's like we just spoke 2 minutes ago. It's easy. And anything that you're forcing or finding that you're having to really work so hard at, it's not worth it, in my opinion. That's just me. It should be easy. It should be simple. It should be effortless. And you should be able to talk to them about anything. I call Rochelle to help me with a million things, and I'm never worried once that she's going to react in any negative way. Ever, So I think it's important that your friends are there for you through whatever. And if they have to be there in a particular way that works for them, like Naja said about her partner, you have to learn that everybody's different. Not everybody's gonna be the same and react the same or approach things the same. You have to respect that person's personality and how they take on things in life. And not everybody's gonna be that empathetic person, and it doesn't mean they don't care about you, but it's just their style. And I think you take people for what they are and you respect them for what they are, and it's gonna be great. Your friendship's gonna work out.
Awesome. Love that. That spirit tech thing is a real, it's a real thing in everything, in business, in love, in life, in relationships, friendships. It's real. Naja?
Yeah, so I've spoken about my core set of friends. Everybody knows them. You guys are the best. So what I would add is, yeah. What I would add is the no new friends thing is not true, guys. I'm a part of a fitness fraternity. We used to be CrossFit, but we're not CrossFit anymore. So let me get it right. We're Fitness 876. And I have to pick them up. I have to mention them because they have really embraced the cancer awareness in particular. Every month we celebrate it at my gym, and it's really a gym. That's what it is. But man, I love those people. When I go there, I don't have to think about much. It's a whole new place. We're all new. We're not friends from before, but we've united around the cause, fitness first, but then every month they all participate, we donate and give back. And I know they're also trying to look to support other causes, but I'm really excited that they took on my cause. And love you guys. So the no new friends thing, guys, is not true.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Rochelle's my new friend, and I love her.
Look at that.
Stacey, your turn.
Yeah, I think just kind of listening to Tara and Naja, I think what I would add is seek authenticity, not approval. And I'll say that for me, because I have been such a migratory person, like I've been migrating since I was 9, so I've never really stayed in any one place for an extensive amount of time. And so I have lots of friends from different times in my life. And, a lot of times as women, especially, we expect relationships to look a particular way for your entire life. And what I've learned is that the relationships I have now that really work are the ones that are authentic. So like Tara says, she has people that are her close inner circle that she talks to all the time, right? But I know that if I call Tara and say, Tara, I need a favor, you can help me. I know Tara will help me out because Tara is my friend. But I'm not talking to Tara every night. You understand what I'm saying? And Tara is real. Like, she ever tell you straight, nobody call me. Like, I mean, she right? So I appreciate that about her. And similarly, I have relationships where I was lock and step with somebody for every day for years, and then now I talk to them once every couple of years. And my hope is that they know that the love is still there, that it hasn't shifted. And it's important to think about it that way, guys, authenticity versus approval, because we don't recognize that what we actually are seeking is approval when we're doing the gossiping and the running down to try to show up in places that really aren't your speed. And, like all of that stuff, that's seeking approval because we want to feel like a part of a group,
of
right?
someone else's circle.
Yeah. So, that's what I would say in terms of advice. Just seek authenticity, not approval, and you'll attract people into your life for a season and maybe for a lifetime. Yeah.
I love that. I love everything. This is one of the best advice segments ever.
Yeah.
Oh, ladies, this was amazing.
Wait, I have another small piece of advice.
Look at you, Tara.
Okay, so I would advise Rochelle to go to Cowork JA the next time her power goes out. She loses Wi-Fi.
I'll endorse that. Cowork JA was my office for like a year. Okay, every Tuesday night.
You hear that, folks? When your power goes, you know where to go.
Actually, whether or not your power goes,
true that.
You're seeking to work, and sometimes, even as your own walls are coming in on you at home, and you're tired of the same wall, like just go and be like your sexy self at co-work, because you actually feel bright and sexy when you go to co-work.
And they have amazing cold coffee beverages.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Tara, on that note, can you tell us some of the other things that people can come to co-work to do? Because a lot of people don't understand that co-work is not just a space for you to work. You have a podcasting room. Tell us a little bit more so that people know.
Yeah, we've got whatever your needs may be. As Rochelle said, sometimes, especially with COVID, a lot of companies have said, yeah, well, we've figured out what you were trying to tell us all these years. You can actually be productive from your yard. But there are times you get your home and the walls are closing in around you. And those of you who are now homeschooling at the same time can be a little bit daunting. So you may not be getting your work done during the day as you may have before. But we do have, a 24/7 thing. So you can work on the weekends. You can work late in the nights. We have conference rooms. We have good coffee. We have a little something. If you need a little sugar. We have office space. We have podcasting. We have a lounge area. And we have virtual offices as well. So if you're now at home, but you need where your packages can be delivered or you need an address, we do that as well.
And you're located where?
Ligony Post Mall, right above Express Fitness. That's across from Sovereign, right on Hope Road.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So, ladies, how can people find you? Tell us, where can people find you?
What do you mean?
Where can people find you, Tara? At co-work, I mean,
Probably not as like at the bank.
Right. Bring money, meet her at the bank.
But we're not meeting anybody anywhere anymore. So your online world, where can people find you?
Online. Tara Playfair everywhere.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for that translation.
This is so poor. I'm like, what is my Instagram handle? I don't
Flavor, Stacey.
Let me tell you where to find me. You can find me at peterkinnT@jmcb.com. You send me an email and I'll reply to that within an hour. Good like that. All right.
I was adding my IG handle at I am Stacey Hines. But once you look for, I'm very Googleable. I'm very Googleable. I'm on all platforms: LinkedIn, IG, Facebook, and podcast world. I'm there. You can just look up Balanced Lady Boss. If you don't remember my name, you can certainly find me by looking up Balanced Lady Boss Show or Balanced Lady Boss Podcast. And then I have a website, staceyhines.com. So.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. This was such an informative evening and very impactful as well. So it really meant a lot. And if you look at the comments, I mean, the comments are literally blowing up, Excellent. Ella says, wow, this was excellent, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yes.
Authenticity is key. Love the discussion, ladies. Lots of important information. You were amazing.
I think one of the important things that we definitely need to remind our viewers is early detection saves lives. Don't be afraid to feel your breasts. They are yours. Feel them up every day, in the shower, in the bed. If you feel something that feels a little suspect, check it out. Somebody like me, I have fibrocystic breasts. So those nodules that I think Stacey was talking about, I'm always feeling little nodules. So I'm hyper aware. So you could be like me, go do a breast ultrasound if you can't do the mammogram for the little itty bitty titty committee. But whatever it is, do what you need to do. And it starts with just feeling the boobs.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys too. The platform is important. And we're all always ready at the same time to share our journey. So we three clearly were ready.
And we are so grateful. And we were very intentional with that name, Cancer Thrivers, because as you said, cancer is not a death sentence. You can survive and you can actually thrive. You can actually come out even better than you were to begin with. Some of us, right? Yes,
Yeah.
Tara.
Yes. So, and for the persons that are still on and will watch this later on, please, not every one of us can afford a mammogram. It can, and it's worse now where a lot of people are not getting an income in, and they're scared to go because they can't afford it. Please donate a 4,000 or 5,000 to Jamaica Cancer Society. If you have it, just put down a little bit every week, till you get there, and it will help a woman be able to get that mammogram that she may not be able to afford right now.
What is the average cost of a mammogram, Taro?
About that. At Jamaica Cancer Society, it's about $5,000.
Okay.
Yeah. So that will get a lady a free mammogram and help take care of that. And if you can,
do you still have your?
I do. I have it's called Tara's Fund, and donate anything to it, and we help women get free mammograms. So yeah, it would be awesome during October if you could, help out a little bit. Every mickle makes a muckle. Don't worry about if you don't have the 5,000. If you only have 500, no problem.
Yeah.
No problem at all.
We'll see if we can put all of that information in the show notes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Great.
So thank you, ladies. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much. We're so grateful.
Well, pleasure having you, and thank you for sharing your stories with our audience tonight.
Anything.
And continue to thrive.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Bye.
Wow, guys.
This was amazing. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us again this week. Remember that COVID is still keeping and it is extremely serious. So we have to protect ourselves and we have to protect each other. That means wear your mask, sanitize, social distance. Remember, please, guys, we have to care for each other and ourselves. So we have many exciting guests lined up for the rest of season 2. So remember to join us next week, Wednesday, same time, 8 p.m. on our Facebook or our YouTube channels. Subscribe, like, share, and of course, share this episode, and you can go back and watch the ones that season 1 and the episodes from season 2 that you haven't seen. They're all on our YouTube, ready to emerge on all platforms. So please, we look forward to seeing you next week. Have a safe rest of your week, and of course, a holiday. We have a holiday this weekend, so please remember curfew, social distancing, wear your masks. Thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, and check your boobs. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much.